Okay, so you guys remember little BlueBell. She came in about a week ago with some injuries to the back of her head where the other birds had picked on her. And that has healed up pretty well. She was also quite blue from lack of oxygen. We treated that. She's doing okay there. Now we've moved her back out to the turkey pen, and apparently she's being picked on again. She came in today with her leg. She's not putting any weight on one of her legs. So Chyanne, can you stand her on the table and still hold her so she doesn't fly away or jump away? Let's show them how she stands. She's giving to this one leg quite a bit. And let's see, Chyanne, which leg was it that she was giving to? This one here? Mm-hmm. Okay, we need to try to stand her up and then give her some support under here. Okay. Looks like possibly a break in the toe. Right in here maybe. She was actually holding her foot up earlier, which means like that. Now that means that she doesn't have any breaks along here. There are no breaks along the leg line. And so it looks like there's a foot injury. She's also pecking at her toes a little bit. So she might have some pain in her foot. We're going to give her an Epsom soak. I'm going to soak her in some Epsom salts. And then I'm going to take a look at the bottom of the foot. She'll get about a 20-minute soak here. And then I'll take a look at the bottom of the foot and see what seems to be happening. In the event we have to wrap it, I've got the Epsom salts here, a tub of hot water here, and we have a feminine pad actually, which will act as support underneath her foot, nice and padded, and some scissors and some gauze and cloth tape. We'll just take a look at it and see what happens here. So I'm going to put some Epsom salt in the little bath. It's about half a cup. And we'll let that dissolve a bit. And Chyanne's going to put her in there. It's deep enough that when she relaxes, her foot will be in it. We'll have to kind of hold her up so that she's not swimming in it. Weather's a little cold outside. We don't want to get her too wet. So she's pretty quiet, easy to get along with. We named her BlueBell the last time she was inside because her head and face and skin color was all blue. And the little place on the back of her head is healing up. It was quite large before. We've just been putting an antibiotic salve on that. And she's done pretty good with the other birds. But now we have to see why she's giving to that right leg. And we'll be back in a few minutes. So there she is in the water. She's really curling that foot. Looks like it's cramping up on her. It's going to be about a 20-minute soak. So we'll let you know how she does here in a little bit. After she soaks, I'll take a real good look at that foot. A little while later here, and you change the direction of the tub, and Chyanne gets a little more comfortable, and little bird's not having a problem with it at all. Special treatment. They all seem to enjoy that. Well, we're about 5 minutes into a 20-minute soak. And little BlueBell is quite relaxed in her bath. She seems to have no desire to get out. The Epsom salt soak really seems to work for a lot of the birds. They enjoy it. You would think they'd try to flog and jump out, but When they've been in pain for a day or two, they're quite willing to have their little warm soaking bath. We'll give her some turmeric mixed in with some kind of food that she'll eat, and that will be a pain reliever as well. So she's got about another 15 minutes to go there. We'll be back. I feel better after you. And she came in with an injured leg today. We'd given her about a 20-minute Epsom salt soak. And now we've dried her off a little bit. She's still a little wet underneath. But now I'm going to take a look at this leg. She can pull this leg up and down at her hip socket. She doesn't want to put any weight on it, but I don't see any breaks in here. Ah, maybe a little bit of tenderness in this joint. But she was picking at her toe earlier today, so I'm going to turn her up here. Take a look at that foot. Looks like a little bruise right in here maybe. But you can see she has mobility in the hip. She has mobility in the joint back here. This little foot here, seems like that toe wants to turn under. I think she has just probably sprained her foot, so I'm not going to put it in a hard splint. And I'm looking in here for any splinter or bumblefoot, and I don't see any. So I'm going to put her in a soft splint. First thing I'm going to do is rub a little bit of mentholated rub on that leg and foot. That'll relieve any pain and stress. Get the circulation back into it. And I do this almost anytime we have anything with aches or pains. I do it whenever I have aches and pains. I normally use Vicks brand for myself because it's a little more potent than the generic, but that serves a dual purpose because the birds don't need it quite as potent probably as I do. So I'm just going to rub a little bit of that on her foot and leg, and that should relax those muscles. See, there's a little bruise there, a little bit of blueness there. She's been moved back out with the other poultry, and some of them are a little bit hard to get along with for her. Okay. So, now, like I said, I'm going to take this feminine hygiene pad. They work amazing. And I'm going to build her a little soft splint under her leg. I'll fold it onto itself here. And this is actually just going to give her some padding under her foot. Cheyenne, I need some gauze out of the bathroom cabinet on the top shelf above the toilet. It's in a blue and white box. I actually think that's a little bit large, a little bit too much. All I want to do is put a little padding under there so that she has room to move that. She's able to move her leg around. You can see she's trembling a little bit there on that foot, so there's a little bit of pain there. That will work. Now take me one of those out, please. And I'm using the gauze. You can open it up for me. It doesn't have to be sterile. I'm using the gauze to put across this and wrap it up in, just so that I have something to tape to. I'll take it to its longest length. Okay, so I've put the little pad under her. Oh, okay. You need to get comfortable. I've put the little pad under her foot, between her toes. She's going to try it out. We're not there yet. But it'll be easier on her foot when she stands up. I know. I gotta finish it, and you were all warm in your towel and going to sleep. Now we gotta finish it, okay? You're fine. You're fine. Don't stress. I've used one piece of the gauze, wrapped the little pad between her toes, and now I'm going to use this other piece. It's a little shorter, but all I'm doing here is just binding it so that it won't come off. This stretches a little bit. I always use cloth tape so that the foot can breathe. And she'll be in a special little pen. We won't put her back in with the others until she can stand on this foot pretty comfortably. You don't wrap it too tight, just enough to hold the binding on. And then every time I put something like this on, I put a little bit of vet wrap on it. And this just kind of secures it. Keeps it a little cleaner. And if you'll put that on the bottom, like so, bring it up the leg, split it out a little bit, run it between those toes, cross it over, and then wrap it around itself. I actually had the paper plate out because if I had had to make her a splint for just a sprain, I thought the paper plate would be better than the plastic coffee container that I normally use for a broken limb. Would have had more flexibility to it. Okay, so now I'm just going to wrap this vet wrap around here to hold this on a little bit. You want to try to give her as much flexibility as you can. Don't tighten it to cut the circulation off. You're just supporting the little foot so she can put weight on it without being in pain. And now we'll see how well she can stand on it. Come on, girl. See if she's going to put any weight on it. You can see she's already putting more weight on it than she did when she came in. Just to have the pressure off the part that was hurting a little bit. And like I said, she can pull it up right here, so I didn't think that there was any damage to the hip socket. And if I move my hand, what's she going to do? There. Now that's what we wanted to see. It's still painful, so she's going to give to it. But if you watched her when she came in, she couldn't put any weight on that foot at all. So now she's going to put a little weight on it. We'll take her back to her nice pen, put her in the pen, let her rest for a week or so, and then we'll check it. So she should be fine. That's good. Now you can put weight on it. You're fine. Okay? She won't get much exercise. She'll stay in a little confined pen. It's big enough she can move around, but for the most part away from the other birds, so she doesn't have to be moving too much. Okay. Come on, little one. That's BlueBell. And we'll bring her back in about a week and let you know how that splint did. And that's the way it goes around here.